idea for the movie came from talking with David Sirota, who's a journalist, speechwriter that I've known for years. And we've always been trying to talk about what is the way to encapsulate the looming giant threats that we're facing in this world, first of which would be the climate crisis. And we talked about how, like, you can't really do a movie that's just grim and dark, even though that's certainly part of it. We wanted something that had a little bit of fun to it. And he had made this comparison to, it's like a comet's going to hit Earth and no one cares. And I was like, that's the movie. We wanted the movie to be laugh out loud funny. We didn't want it to just be clever or wryly funny, where the audience kind of has a half smile. We wanted people to actually laugh because I feel like after these last 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, like, we need to laugh. So that was a big part of it. And that's how the movie Office Space was like really an inspiration. And I would say Idiocracy is another one. Both those Mike Judge films for me are really kind of North Stars. He's playing Dr. Randall Mindy, who's kind of a low-level professor. He has tenure, but he's definitely not a star. He's not the kind of guy you're going to see, on Nova or hanging out with Neil deGrasse Tyson. And so he's sort of thrust into this big, important role, but he's very nervous. He has to take like a quarter of a Xanax. He looks kind of schlubby and loves his family and his kids. So he was this very sweet, kind of vulnerable character that I've seen Leo play a lot of different characters, but I don't think I've ever seen him play this character. So that was extra exciting. She just has this like beautiful, wonderful, hilarious anger. And the character of Kate DiBiase is driven by that because she's the one who won't play the media game. She's the one who doesn't care about couching what she says so it's pleasant. She's the one who's going to dress the way she wants and talks the way she wants. And it's a very, it's a fun character, but she gets chewed up in the script and she just kills me. She's just spitting fire throughout the whole movie and she's hilarious while doing it. It's very fun to see when Meryl Streep walks on a set. Everyone's demeanor changes slightly. It's the difference between you're shooting hoops with your buddies and you're just goofing around, and then suddenly Michael Jordan's on the court. Everyone just tries a little harder. Everyone watches what they're doing a little bit more. And then on top of it, she's so generous and collaborative and silly and unassuming. So yeah, that was an all-time experience. I knew if I had him, I'd have someone in there throwing fastballs and taking swings. And boy, did he not disappoint. I mean, so many brilliant, hilarious, and smart beats that he came up with. So God bless Jonah Hill. You could just tell all these actors were hungry for a healthy, positive, joyful way to process, the pothole-ridden road we've been driving down 100 miles an hour for the past 5 years. And then at that point, we realized people were going to show up for this. And that's when we then started taking extra leaps, like going to Tyler Perry, who, basically runs the state of Georgia. And you're like, there's no way he's going to do this. And we're like, you know what? We've learned. Let's try. And Tyler Perry's like, I'm in. And then Kevin Messick, our producer, is like, do we try Ariana Grande for Riley Bina? And I'm like, that's insane, but let's try it. And then we were just off to the races. And then we had like a small little role in the movie. It was like, do we try Chris Evans? And like, at this point, we had lost our minds. And then he was like, yes, I'll do it. So, Kid Cudi, yes, I'll do it. And it just kept rolling and rolling. Tyler's a guy who's done comedy, he's done drama, he gets the world of entertainment, and he was perfect for it. And I'll never forget the first day we paired him and Kate on set, because within 5 minutes, they had this chemistry between the two of them that felt like a 14-year chemistry. And we just kept looking at each other. We're like, how did that happen so fast? And I actually asked them, I was like, we're not supposed to be meeting for drinks because of COVID, but did you guys sneak off and get a drink or something? They're like, no, we just met. Mark is the actor's actor. And we needed this kind of fairy dust performance of strangeness, yet presence, yet threat. And boy, did he give it to us. I mean, every day I would just marvel at the choices he was making. This role, this character of Yule, who's this kind of skate punk from Southern Illinois that Jen's character, Kate DiBiase, crosses paths with. I was like, this is a really fun character. He's like super earnest, wears his heart on his sleeve, just passionate. I would say Ron Perlman is straight up a national treasure. I don't use that lightly, but yeah, we needed someone to play this kind of jingoistic, slightly lunatic, pilot for hire character who's been offending people for years, getting canceled for years. But of course, this president loves him. And I mean, there's just no other choice but Ron Perlman. And she was really a major ingredient in this movie because for Leo to be able to talk like an astronomer, for Jen to understand this, for me to understand this, we needed someone that would talk to us for hours. We needed someone, because really the only way you start to pick up this language is you kind of have to take a long bath in it. You can't just hear it and move on. So DiCaprio would talk to her for hours and hours, and Jen would go through the script with her. I would go through the script with her. She talked to Rob Morgan. She was constantly fact-checking the script. And then maybe her most valuable input was with our VFX team, because she was guiding them to make sure what they were showing was accurate. We had there's one scene where a spaceship goes past, I think it's a neutron star. And, Dr. Mainsler was able to give us the exact specs of what that would look like and give us reference photos. Yeah, I mean, the big strange thing was that I had written the script before the pandemic. So I had no idea any of that was coming. I'd written this comedy. We were scouting it, and boom, the pandemic hit. So that was probably one of the strangest 5-6 months of my life, seeing beat after beat in the movie come true. One small joke I had in the script, I can't even remember if it stayed in the movie, was that the spending package they put together for the Comet, part of it is they have to give a 1%, a tax cut for the 1%, the wealthiest 1%. And then I turn on the news one day and the COVID spending package has tax cuts for the wealthiest top 1%. I'm like, wow, I didn't even know they would be that shameful enough to do that. What the movie's really about is all the effed up, bizarre, strange, dysfunctional ways that we now talk to each other through social media, TV, career, workplace, gossip. And at root, what ended up happening was that it really allowed me to discover what the movie was really about, which is that we've, destroyed the way that we talk to each other as a species, as a community. And that's the key that needs to be fixed in order for us to fix these other problems. So the idea was that she would be an amalgam of all the just mostly really atrocious leaders that we've had over the past 50 years, going back to Nixon. And, they all share common traits. They all sort of have these crazy run-amok egos. They all view themselves as celebrities. They all chase poll numbers. They're all kind of, at root, really hacks. They all let big money run all over them and kind of dictate what they're doing. So that was the idea, is that she would be all of that.